Greetings to all. Today we'll be having a security review, and we are glad to have Angella. She has been lost on us, so we are glad to see her. So this episode is going to be purely a security review. But it's going to be purely more of AI. So someone who enjoys AI, this would be a very good one. In terms of the aspect of having AI being even looking forwards, but they're failing to come.
Integrated.
Being integrated, and the advantages and disadvantages, mostly disadvantages of AI, and purely the aspect of how is it helping. How should we actually utilize it in our production environment? Then we also look at the different malwares we should actually look at this year, which have been a point to note for each and every person who is doing the work like me. As a cybersecurity analyst, those are things you should watch out for, or an incident responder. So without further ado, welcome to the show. And Angela, how have you been?
I've been okay, Dale. Have you been?
Good. So I'll be the first to be asked questions, followed by Angela, then we'll conclude.
Okay, Dale. So to get into the thick of things, what is DeepSeek?
Well, for those who have been living under a rock and have not seen DeepSeek, so DeepSeek is one of the new AIs which have come out of China, and yes, it's like an AI of any other, where you give it prompts and it responds to different prompts. The same idea, like the way we have ChatGPT, Gemini, we have which other ones? Copilots. So this is also another alternative to those.
Yeah. And DeepSeek broke the internet early this year when Nivea's stock value dropped. I think that's when everyone's eyes opened and they wanted to know what exactly this is. But also it speaks to how technology advancements.
More on that Nivea stock value dropping.
Okay. So Nivea are the owners of OpenAI, who are the creators of ChatGPT that everyone was using. So whole of 2024, everyone who sought to invest their stocks were
putting it in
Nivea stocks. Yeah, the company Nivea. Yeah. So when DeepSeek came out, their stock value reduced because obviously, okay, it's not obvious, but with every Chinese, with all Chinese products, things get cheaper.
True. Plus, also there's that hype of being the first investors, and you benefit more as a first investor.
And the selling point of Nivea was their chips and how fast they were. DeepSeek came on the block and kind of disproved that. So their stock value dropped by, Google says they lost more than 500 billion in market value.
Wow.
Yes, when DeepSeek came out after emergence of DeepSeek. So that's how, you think everything is going well until something is invented.
Something new comes up.
And your whole life.
The whole network.
Yeah. So anyway, yes. Tell us more, Dale, about the test done on DeepSeek.
So there's a company called AppSoc. It deals with mostly research of security. And they did several security researches concerning DeepSeek, and they found out of the 6,400 security tests, we are glad to say it failed handsomely in terms of the security tests, because in terms of the different prompts which it was given, it ended up divulging a lot of information, and also in terms of its ingrained security and the amount of money injected into making it, we would expect it to have a high level of security. You know, those things where ChatGPT came up and people are easily giving it prompts and it's able to and help you even create malware that easily. So there are different tests which were made, and 98% failure in terms of when it comes to malware creation. So it's able to create malware once it was continuously prompted. And after the researchers actually did something about it and then pushed it to the limit, and they were able to actually help make it actually do that. Then also 86.7% when it comes to virus code creation. So it's able to also do that. So that brings about a lot of insecurity. And also with it, we're also not guaranteed that it won't do things like opening of ports and all that. So it's a product which I don't know if they were mining more about the creation of the AI compared to create embedding in the security. Yeah. So yeah, that's basically that is basically one of the biggest challenges with the DeepSeek as a whole. And many of the security researchers I saw recently, a YouTube video where they were showing how much information is being shared to a Chinese company. Yeah, so like there's a lot of information being divulged using DeepSeek. So it's definitely a place where you shouldn't.
There is anti-AI.
I am not anti-AI, by the way. I use it a lot, but I feel like you need to err on the side of caution, especially in production environment. I wouldn't want in a situation where you're using such technologies to help you when you're not sure of its level of security. So definitely, if something is good and it's also embedded with enough security to prevent attacks, definitely I would opt into it.
Sure.
Yeah.
So in terms of company use of AI, is it a smart idea to use it for work?
Definitely no. Definitely you should even block it right now till they figure out their thing right now, because I wouldn't want it to be, because now just imagine the level of threat landscape it creates just by having it. And basing on even the security side, meaning that if you put it inside and then you give it multiple permissions and it's also not so secure and can be easily jailbroken by researchers immediately. Actually, when it was deployed, security researchers started prying into it, and they easily jailbroke it and then entered this inside the system. So why would I want such a thing in my network? It's like a ticking time bomb. So I don't think it would be a very wise idea to actually have it on the network. So yeah, I wouldn't recommend it right now. It's still in the infant stages, and a lot of money needs to be put into embedding more security into it. But yeah, let's wait and see.
Sure.
How many years is DeepSeek right now? I mean, how many months is it?
Oh, yes. It just came out. So 2 months.
Has it 2 months? So something which has been there for 2 months, definitely there's a lot of kinks here and there. And I think, yeah, as I said, security was not the first thing they thought about. And even when they're talking about the budget of 6 million for actually creating it, it's not sufficient for them to actually make something this. Yeah. So there's definitely a lot of room to doubt it right now. So yeah, I wouldn't recommend.
It's a learning curve.
Yeah, definitely a learning curve. So on to you, Angela. First and foremost, what is Hugging Face? The way you looked at me, it's like you were worried about what I'm going to say.
Yeah, always worried.
So what is Hugging Face?
Okay, so Hugging Face is an AI and open source company that specializes in natural language processing and machine learning. It provides a platform for sharing, training, and deploying machine learning models, particularly in areas of transformers, computer vision, and audio processing. So its key features are Transformers library, which is open source for natural language processing tasks like text generation, translation, sentiment analysis, models like GPT, BART, and T5. You see how every service provider has their own GPT in chat boxes, really.
Yeah.
So they're easy to build because of such
platforms.
Yes. So there's the model hub.
It's like a GitHub of
for it is
guys who are doing AI.
Okay. GitHub, yeah, for AI. So there's a model hub, which is a repository of thousands of pre-trained models for natural language processing, computer vision, and audio tasks. There's an inference API, which is a cloud service that allows users to run machine language models without setting up a complicated infrastructure, and auto train a no code machine language training tool.
Okay. So we now ask the question of why and how are these Pickle Files being exploited, and what are actually Pickle Files?
What are Pickle Files? So Pickle Files have an extension of PKL in Python, and they're Python specific files used for serializing and deserializing objects. I think the simplest way of defining serializing and deserializing. Remember when we used to compress and decompress files? So I think that's when you serialize, you're compressing. Deserializing, you're building it back up. So, however, Pickle Files pose serious security threats because they allow arbitrary code execution when loaded. So attackers can exploit this vulnerability by inserting malicious payloads codes so that they can be executed in a victim system.
Basically, like they will have .mp3 for audio.
Yes.
So when you create your AI models, you save it as a
Pickle file. Yeah.
Okay. So why now on to the second
why
part
and
of
how
why and how are they exploited?
So lack of security controls. The Pickle model does not enforce any restrictions on what can be deserialized, on what can be what can be deserialized. Like I explained, is like when you load the codes, you will load all of it. So there is no security check to see if there's any malicious code. And when people get these repositories, these codes from repositories, they don't check. Some of them get from untrusted sources, and attackers can take advantage of that. So, like also arbitrary code execution, Pickle decentralization can invoke system calls allowing attackers to execute arbitrary Python code. Supply chain attacks, remember like the SolarWinds attack. So supply chain attacks are where attackers put malicious software in like system update, like software update files, and they'll affect like a large number of users. So these PKL files can be disguised as legitimate data sets, that can be put in machine language models.
Oh, are there ways of one checking it out? Are there indicators of compromise that this is actually a file which is malicious or not?
Yeah, you can check it in a safe environment, like in a virtual machine before.
Things like VirusTotal and the AnyRun, stuff like that.
Yes.
Okay.
So you can also, okay. First of is avoid untrusted inputs. Never process user supplied data without validation. Use safe serialization formats like JSON and YML. Enable security features like sandboxing, memory protection, and then update softwares regularly. Yeah.
Wow. Well, you have done that topic justice. I know you have a AI background. That is why I also added a lot of AI. Hopefully, I didn't catch you off guard. So, there are definitely a lot when it comes to AI, and yeah, we need to find a way of utilizing it and also ensuring that we are not, victims of circumstance. So, this week we also looked at some malware threats. There was a publication of Hacker News on different malware threats which are disorganizing organizations, and we took a look at them, and we also said that we should actually include it in the show notes for people to actually look at. Angela, and then any which stood out for you? I personally found they were all unique in their own ways, but as an analyst, I looked through most of it, and you find that many of them, if you use like any run to place those files inside, it will be able to detect, and they're definitely different. You can be able to implement those different key areas where, like, let's say they have showed you the indicators of compromise. You add them into your system and ensure that you are less prone to such attacks. And definitely, if there are also potential IP addresses, the contacted DLLs, the imported DLLs, all those things, you're able to pick them out. So that was
also unusual open ports.
Yeah. So yeah, I don't know what stood out for you, and which one stood out for you?
For the indicators of compromise or for malware threats?
The malwares themselves, which one stood out for you?
So obviously, the ransomware as a service. And also the AI-powered phishing that attackers use. Right now, the attacks are very well crafted and convincing that they can, they can also use voice and videos to mimic entities that can, making it harder to detect.
Yeah, adversaries are actually pulling up their socks very quickly nowadays, to the point that it's very hard to easily catch up with them. An honorable mention is the lock bit. That one is a famous one, especially when it comes to
ransomware as a
attacks.
service.
Ransomware as a service. And the level of chaos it has caused for so many organizations. And definitely it's one to look out for. And they keep on updating their thing. And based on these posts, they are saying now even have Lockbit 4.0. So they keep on updating So it's one to watch out for. Yeah. REM course is also another one which is popular. I remember also studying about this one. So it basically it's a remote access tool which is used to remotely access a machine and then use it for capturing screens, recording keystrokes and all that. So that's also another interesting one. So generally look through that list, and if you can
also there's Valok that can self-replicate.
Yeah. So that is it for this week. Definitely there's a lot maturing in terms of malware, and definitely you need to think about it this year. How do you circumvent some of these attacks, and how is your organization standing in terms of security strength, and what's the level of maturity of the organization? So food for thought for all the people in terms of ensuring that our organizations are maintained and the security is always up front. So Angela, what are your final thoughts?
Also, people who don't have organizations but personal cybersecurity. So anyway, just continue to train and educate yourself on the attacks that are out there. Phishing attacks can get anyone who is really on the internet. So regular system, both your computer and phone updates, regular backups, and also, just be aware of social engineering tactics that are out there.
These people are becoming too crafty, especially with the rise of AI. I made a joke sometime back that an AI generated email might even look less suspicious compared to even mine, which I sent because of
no
the
grammatical
errors.
Better punctuation.
Everything. Oh, yeah. So that's the power of AI. So, but use wisely. For now, some of them you should first leave them till they figure out their things, especially on production environment, not for your personal use. You can try it out, but production environment, if you're a person who is too keen in terms of security, you should first put some off until further notice. Other than that, see you on the next episode. We'll definitely have something. We are coming up with more and more, so stay tuned. Have a good one.
And also, please share widely and follow us on all social media platforms, the Cyber Weekly. Thanks for listening.
Thank you.